Hey guys, another edition of Off the Top Rope, Off the Mic Sports Network here. So Monday Night Raw was really good on Netflix. It's almost like watching two different shows. SmackDown just kind of just there, and in some cases has been kind of awful lately. Meanwhile, Raw, since it went to Netflix, has been really good, and particularly the storyline that was established on SmackDown with The Rock looking for his corporate champion, trying to get Cody Rhodes to sell out. There was a really great segment involving Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes in the ring. Seth talked about how he sold out once. Cody and Seth's history was tied into very much in this. And so it got me thinking, who's going to be the sellout? I did a video kind of breaking down the options of it. I really haven't formed much of a strong opinion yet on what I think the best idea was because there's a lot of options out there. I think the three most logistical options, because here's the thing, let's get this out of the way. I don't think Cody Rhodes is selling out. I think that is way too easy to go down that route. It's way too easy for that to happen. Um, so then option number two is what everybody seems to think is going to be the Mania match is Cody Rhodes, John Cena. John Cena, inevitably, the Hollywood sellout, he sells out to The Rock, his longtime rival slash friend. That makes a ton of sense. Then there's CM Punk. Does that happen, especially considering he's got some storyline movement to potentially get to that match and it would create some intrigue there? And then there's Drew McIntyre. And I hate to break it to all these Drew McIntyre fans who, and I love Drew as much as the next guy, and it would make a lot of sense for him to be the sellout to potentially get the championship. I hate to break it to you guys. Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes is not main eventing WrestleMania. I hate to tell you that. Drew also won the Chamber last year, so I can't see a back-to-back year where he wins the Chamber. I'm willing to be surprised by it, and they could potentially sell me on the fact that Drew is Rock's corporate guy and his sellout guy, and that can create some intrigue. So those are the options. I don't think Logan Paul is winning. I don't think Damian Priest is winning, and I do not think that Seth Rollins is winning this match. There's really only three options in this chamber that make even remotely a little bit of sense, with Drew McIntyre being a distant third. So here's where I'm landing. I don't know if this is going to happen on Saturday at the Elimination Chamber, and I don't know if this is the direction that they're going to go. But I think that CM Punk should win the Elimination Chamber. And if he doesn't, I've already proposed this option that CM Punk could use his favor to get into the Mania main event, and he has an avenue there. No matter what we do here, ultimately, the best option for this storyline and what they are trying to tell us on television, given everything that we have seen in the last year or so since CM Punk returned to WWE, and given everything that he has said since the end of last year going into this year that started with the Netflix debut beating Seth Rollins. And then especially what happened in that segment on Monday night between Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. And also going back to before the Royal Rumble where CM Punk had the great segment with Cody Rhodes. I think CM Punk is going to be the corporate champion for The Rock. And I don't know how we're going to get there, whether it's going to be a favor and he sells out to The Rock that way to get himself into the match and use that way to get in, or he wins the chamber legitimately and then sells out. Whatever happens, CM Punk being the one to turn heel and get finally to his Mania main event, which he has never had, get finally to winning the championship at WrestleMania and, aligning himself with The Rock, being the corporate sellout, which is something we have not explored with CM Punk. And some of you will say, well, that goes against everything that CM Punk has said. Listen, everything that we have been told based off of the people who are fighting against CM Punk, whether it be Drew McIntyre or Seth Rollins or whoever, is we know that Punk is a snake. I love CM Punk, but everybody has always, created the stigma around him that Punk is the snake, and he will do whatever it takes to get to where he wants to go. So him being the one, obviously with that favor with Paul Heyman, and, that being in play, CM Punk being the corporate champion, selling out to The Rock because of the favor with Paul Heyman, winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania from Cody Rhodes, I think is the best option to get to where we want to go. and extending that, going beyond WrestleMania and going beyond what this initial storyline tells us, it validates Seth Rollins for everything that he has said about CM Punk. Everything. And Seth Rollins, who everybody's been begging to turn heel, doesn't have to turn heel. And his character work has honestly been some of the best stuff outside of Kevin Owens. It's really remarkable. The three best characters, really, at least right now in WWE, are, at least from like, the way they cut their promos and the way they carry themselves on screen, are Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins. So if CM Punk is the guy to make this turn and be the corporate champion, it completely validates everything that Seth Rollins has said since the moment that CM Punk came back. And it would further fuel the madness and the craziness that Seth Rollins is and makes it more serious. Because, yeah, we love the Seth Rollins song and the loud outfits and everything. But when Seth is serious, he's as good as there is in this business. So that's the first thing. But then there's another thing. We know that we're not getting Roman Reigns fighting for a world championship for the first time since 2019. We are not getting him fighting for the first time since a COVID mania. He has defended the world championship at the WrestleMania in 2021, which was 37, 38, 39, and then 40. This is the first time in 5 years that Roman Reigns is not going to be involved in a championship match or defending it since that point. That is insane to think about. Because remember, in 2019, he didn't have it because he battled leukemia. And then in 2020, he was supposed to be in the match, but pulled out because of COVID. So he's not going to be in the title picture for WrestleMania, which is interesting. Paul Heyman then helps CM Punk become the corporate champion with his favor. That creates a avenue, just a boatload of options of story that you could tackle into between CM Punk and Roman Reigns, which we are clearly heading towards. And maybe SummerSlam is the direction that we go for that. I believe SummerSlam, I think SummerSlam is in the New York, New Jersey area at MetLife Stadium this year for 2 nights. So if you want a SummerSlam Night 2 main event, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns for the world title, that is a hell of an option. You could delay it all the way till WrestleMania in New Orleans the next year. Maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe Roman wins the title from Punk. And that's how we get to Rock versus Roman. And I'm still not very optimistic that we're going to get to that point. But to me, I thought about this overnight after seeing how amazing that segment was. There are so many parties that are affected in this storyline. The best option for what happens going forward, and I understand that CM Punk had a separate segment with Logan Paul, but they got to sell the chamber match. So maybe that's part of this. But maybe CM Punk faces Logan Paul. I don't know. Okay, cool. But to me, the best storyline option is that CM Punk is the corporate champion. I don't know if that's going to mean he wins the chamber match or if he uses that favor to infiltrate the match against presumably John Cena and Cody Rhodes. It's a triple threat. CM Punk wins it that way with the help of Paul Heyman and The Rock with his whole favor. We've got the corporate sellout. We've recreated WrestleMania 17 all over again. And, that's where we go from here. And I know a lot of Punk fans are not going to be happy about, him not being babyface. Listen, CM Punk is a bad guy, is as good as there ever is. So it just, like I said, the Seth element makes sense. The Roman element makes sense in terms of carrying the storyline on. The favor with Paul Heyman makes sense. And, everything that we've seen from CM Punk since he got back from the injury, since he got past Drew McIntyre, and since, the favor was formulated at Survivor Series, it's very clear that CM Punk is motivated to do one thing and one thing only. He's motivated about getting to the top by any means necessary, which if it means, selling out to the final boss, that is definitely something interesting because it would also become full circle. 12 years ago, here's the other part of this that's really wild that they could potentially tackle in, and maybe CM Punk is motivated by this and he could tackle into it. 12 years ago, I was at this match. Rock gets a title match at the Royal Rumble. He effectively stole CM Punk's main event at WrestleMania back in 2013, 12 years ago. That happened. And I remember being distraught when CM Punk did not win and his historic 434-day title reign was ended by The Rock. 12 years later, he sells out to the final boss who has all the power and the authority in the world to give him everything that he wanted. Main event of WrestleMania, boom. World Championship, boom. You have a favor with Paul Heyman, who is as good of a politicker as anybody in this business. To me, this makes way too much sense to not do it. Again, let me be clear. This does not mean that CM Punk is winning the Chamber on Saturday. It does not mean that. Because we can still get to WrestleMania without having CM Punk winning the Chamber and then having to use that favor to sell out to the final boss. And that gets us to where we want to go. And then, like I said, you have options all over the table. Roman's like, Paul, what the fuck are you doing with this guy? I understand that he helped us and he owed you a favor, but like, what the hell are you doing? You're my wise man. So it leads to elements with Paul Heyman. Is he going to side with, is he going to reluctantly side with Punk, or is he going to fully side with Punk? Like, there's so much here. And then, like you said, the Seth Rollins heel turn doesn't need to happen. CM Punk being a heel, I think, is good for business. It makes also the arc of John Cena, because hell, if you don't want to do Roman Reigns and John Cena, if you don't want to do Roman Reigns and CM Punk as a main event of SummerSlam, why not have it be John Cena? Why not have it be John Cena? Because John Cena is retiring at the end of the year and he's trying to pursue number 17 and the most world championships, at least recognized by WWE. So there's a lot there. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Because I just think this makes way too much sense. This makes way too much sense. And it creates an element of WrestleMania, even if it's a little bit underwhelming that we're not going to get Rock and Roman Reigns. It creates an element of intrigue of where this whole thing's going to go. And we may not get an answer of who sells out to The Rock, but I can damn sure tell you it's not going to be Cody Rhodes. It's way too easy for Cody Rhodes and way too simple for it to just be Cody takes Rock's offer. That's not where this is going. This is going to drag out. And we may not get the reveal of who sells out to him until WrestleMania. But ultimately, I think that guy should be CM Punk. Anyway, get at me in the comments. Get at me on Twitter at OTMikeSports, at OffTheMic28. I will see you guys soon.